I used to think that marriage was about understanding, that if you loved someone deeply enough, they'd always know your heart, even when you didn't say a word. I was wrong. My wife, Claire, and I had been married for 6 years. The first 4 were wonderful. We built a small life together in a quiet town outside of Denver, spent lazy Sundays cooking, laughing, talking about everything and nothing. But over the past year, something had changed. At first, it was subtle. She stopped asking about my day. Our late-night talks turned into distracted scrolls through her phone. Then came the rejections, and one after another. "Not tonight, Jake, I'm tired. Maybe next weekend, okay? Can we not do this now? I've got a headache." Every attempt I made to reconnect, she brushed off like a fly on her shoulder. I thought it was stress. Maybe work. Maybe family. But when weeks turned into months, I realized it wasn't stress. It was distance. The rejection wasn't just physical. It was emotional. I'd come home with good news about a project at work, and she'd barely look up. I started to feel invisible in my own house. Our 6th anniversary was coming up, and I thought maybe that could be our turning point. I booked a reservation at the restaurant where we had our first date, even managed to get the same table by the window. I picked out her favorite flowers, the same kind she carried on our wedding day, white lilies. When I told her about it, she didn't smile. "Jake, can we skip the whole dinner thing this year? I've got a client meeting that night." She said it like it was nothing, like our anniversary was an errand she didn't have time for. Something inside me cracked that night. I nodded, pretending to understand, but the truth was, I couldn't take it anymore. I'd spent months trying to fix something I didn't break. Weeks of being told no to every effort, every gesture, every piece of myself I tried to offer her. So when the anniversary came, I didn't go to the restaurant. I didn't send flowers. I didn't even text her happy anniversary. Instead, I left work early, went home, and found her getting ready, not for a client meeting, but for something else entirely. She was wearing a dress I hadn't seen before. Red, elegant, the kind you wear to impress someone new. "Thought you had a meeting?" I asked quietly. She froze, lipstick in hand. "I do, it's a dinner thing." "Right," I said. "What's the client's name?" She looked away. That was all I needed to know. I didn't yell, didn't accuse, didn't demand an explanation. I just grabbed my jacket and keys, and before leaving, I said the only words that came to mind: "Don't wait up." I drove aimlessly for hours. The city lights blurred in my rearview mirror, and for the first time in years, I felt completely alone. The kind of alone that eats at your chest and leaves nothing but silence. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. A message from Claire. "Jake, where are you? I thought you'd at least say something today." I stared at the screen for a long time. My thumb hovered over the keyboard before I finally typed a reply. After weeks of rejections, I finally took the hint. "Enjoy your meeting." Then I turned off my phone. I didn't know what she would do, and honestly, I didn't care. I drove to a motel off the highway and sat there staring at the ceiling, wondering how something so beautiful had turned so cold. The next morning, I woke up to a string of missed calls and messages. The first few were calm. "Please call me." Then they turned desperate. "Jake, it's not what you think." And finally angry. "You're being childish." But the truth was, I wasn't being childish. I was done being invisible. When I finally went home the next evening, the house was silent. Her car was still in the driveway, but she wasn't in the living room. Instead, I found her sitting on the bed, mascara streaked down her face, holding her phone. "I tried calling you," she whispered. "I saw." She looked up at me, eyes swollen. "Can we please talk?" And that's when I said the words that left her silent. I took a deep breath, standing by the doorway. The air between us felt heavy, thick with all the words we'd never said. "Talk?" I repeated quietly. "Now you want to talk?" Claire nodded, her voice trembling. "I know I messed up, but it's not what you think, Jake. That dinner, it wasn't a date. It was complicated." I let out a bitter laugh. "Complicated? That's the word people use when they've run out of lies." Her eyes widened, hurt flickering across her face. "It wasn't like that. He's just someone from work. I needed his approval for the proposal I've been working on." "I didn't mean to make you feel unwanted," I interrupted. "Ignored? Like my marriage has been on life support for months?" She looked down. "I didn't realize you felt that way. That hit harder than anything." How could she not realize? Every cold shoulder, every night she turned away. It all added up. I sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing my temples. You know what the worst part is, Claire? I kept trying. I kept believing that if I was patient enough, if I worked harder, you'd notice again. But you didn't, and when you finally did, it was because I stopped trying. She reached for my hand, but I pulled it away. The gesture felt empty now. I've been fighting for us, I continued, but it's hard to fight when I'm the only one swinging. Claire's voice cracked. I thought you were just distant because of work. I didn't know you felt like I was shutting you out. That's the thing, I said, standing up. You never asked. You just assumed I'd be here waiting while you figured out whatever it is you wanted. She wiped her eyes. Jake, please. I love you. I just lost track of things and I didn't know how to fix it. I looked at her for a long time. There was a part of me that still loved her, that still wanted to believe we could go back to how it used to be. But another part, the tired, worn-out part, knew it was already over. I don't think love disappears overnight, Claire, I said softly. But neglect kills it slowly, and I think ours has been dying for a while. Silence filled the room. She whispered, What are you saying? I'm saying I need time, I replied. Time to figure out who I am without walking on eggshells every day. Time to remember what it's like to be seen. Her lip quivered. Are you leaving me? I'm not sure yet, I admitted. But for now, I need space. That night, I packed a small bag. Just a few clothes, my laptop, and the wedding photo from our honeymoon. I didn't know why I took it. Maybe because some part of me still wanted to hold on to the memory of what we once were. As I reached the door, Claire's voice broke behind me. Jake, please don't do this. I can change. I'll do better. I turned to her, and for the first time in months, I felt calm. I hope you do. But I can't stay and wait for promises anymore. Then I walked out. The following weeks were quiet. I stayed at a friend's place while Claire sent messages every few days. Long apologies, pictures from our past, reminders of what we used to be. I didn't respond. I needed to heal, not rewind. One evening after nearly a month, I got a letter in the mail, handwritten, from Claire. I finally understand. You weren't asking for perfection. You were asking to be seen. I thought our marriage could survive on memories, but you were right, it needs effort. I don't know if we'll ever find our way back, but I'll always be grateful for the years we had. I read it twice. There was no anger left in me, only quiet acceptance. I folded the letter, placed it inside the same photo frame I'd taken, and set it on the desk. For the first time in a long while, I felt peace. As I looked out the window at the fading light, I realized something. Sometimes silence isn't the end of love, it's the beginning of understanding. And maybe that's what my reply had done. It didn't break her. It made her listen. Because after weeks of rejections, my silence finally spoke louder than any words ever could.